Forgive the shirt. This is basically what I woke up in, and my wife is still asleep. I'm trying to do some videos early today because we've got some other stuff to do. And yesterday I posted an old video I did years ago, but that I had never actually posted the full thing to YouTube. So I went ahead and posted that yesterday as our yesterday's video. So I wanted to bring something fresh in today. So I'm filming in my pajamas. Basically, originally today's video was going to be a rant about how poorly YouTube handles copyright disputes. But it turned out this one went pretty smoothly. It was from a video I posted back in 2011 when I shot the original teaser for Lumber vs. Jack, which is available on Amazon Prime, which you all know already. But so it was for the original teaser for Lumber vs. Jack. You can see it online again. I had turned it off for a while. It's called Jack Thought, or Jack Thought Wrong. And basically, it was me in some of the costumes having a basic idea of what the script was going to be, running around in the woods of my backyard with my wife filming, and me playing every character in it, and testing some of the special effects like reverse photography, making sure I included the Jeep, which is becoming like an iconic piece throughout the three movies, and stuff like that. And so we shot that, we put it up, and I used music from one of my, I'm sure it was one of my two basic music sources, which is Fresh Music Library. They sell really decent pre-licensed, so basically drop fee free, licensed forever for most every use that you can think of. Not everything, but for video, fantastic music. And then the other one was Footage Firm. Back when they first came out, they were doing like free music and really cheap packages and really inexpensive stuff. And you could download it directly, so you didn't have to wait for it. They're a really good way to. Fresh Music has that also. It's a really good way to, like, if you've got a scene and you don't have music on hand, you could just fish right through and download it right online and keep editing. Keep going. But so I got this notice that somebody flagged the short video for copyright because of the music, and I'm like, I paid for this music. I paid for the rights to pay for this music. So I could test it like I usually do because, I know I paid for it. And I actually listed both companies, which is not what you want to do. You want to know what track you used and where you bought it from and when you got it and everything else. But I did not feel like going back 6 years into my videos if I didn't have to, 6 years into my records and everything else. So I did this first, knowing that my wife has the paperwork for me somewhere if I need it. And YouTube has the paperwork on all of the music I had bought up until a certain point. I bought new stuff since then from Fresh Music, because Fresh sent me a listing of what I had to give to them. And Fresh also sent me an updated contract that specifically named YouTube videos, because even though it said all markets, including for commercial use, it had not originally mentioned YouTube because this wasn't an issue at the time. I've had the music that long, guys. I was shooting on SVHS when I started with Fresh Music. This stuff has paid for itself a bunch of times. As you may know, I do suggest using composers when you can. Okay, if it's in your budget, if you can afford it, a composed film score is going to always look better than using canned music. If you get familiar with your canned music, you'll start to know which pieces you're going to use for what scenes and edit accordingly. If you drop the music first and edit to it, it will seem like it was composed for the scene because you'll catch your beats right, Or you can edit first, drop the music, and then tweak it. But if you can afford a composer, especially somebody up and coming, use a composer. But you should always have some stock music on hand in case you need it. But so I sent this thing, and 3 days later, usually they wait the whole 30 days, and then they'll release it because they know you've got it dead to rights, because they know you actually bought the music. But this one, smooth as silk. 3 or 4 days later, they had released the claim. But in case you get caught up in the other situation, make sure you keep your paperwork. Make sure your releases say that you can use it specifically on platforms like YouTube, Vimeo, for commercial purposes. I know there's a lot of places out there you can get free music. Look at how the licensing works for those too. Look at what you need to credit, what you don't need to credit, and things like that. And one of the other things that Fresh has is they've got these things called mirror image, which is music that invokes thoughts of other music that we all know. but isn't that music. It's close. It's far enough away from it to be legal to use, close enough to it to be to invoke the feelings of it. So like if you're going for comedy, you can pick from a comedy show you already know, and relate it to that. And some of you guys have probably heard that stuff in my movies also. And then the other thing I like to do is like the Alien Vengeance movies. You'll hear I use the same track in all of them, in the shorts and for the credits. And that kind of connects all of them musically. So you know that, this is our Alien Vengeance thing. And boom, if you ever watched the old Universal movies, there are some stingers from Creature from the Black Lagoon. I say from, that's what I always relate them to originally. I don't even know if that's where they started. But that are used in stuff that came out of Universal forever. They're used in everything Universal did for a long, long time, these musical cues. The TV shows they put out then, and like you'll hear it in the Twilight Zone or some westerns or whatever. And it kind of gives you that connection to, this is a Universal picture. This is a Universal show. And so we tried to do the same thing with Alien Vengeance. And now, like, we've got a similar thing going now with musical cues that we used in Lumber vs. Jack are going to get used in Jack vs. Lanterns, and were recently used in X-24, the short film that's kind of an offshoot from this world. And we're going to be looking to incorporate that into our miniseries. But keep your paperwork from your movie stuff. Don't just have digital copies of it. Print it out. Keep it on a separate hard drive. Keep it on a thumb drive if you have to. Make it all accessible. And if you're smarter than I am, when you make something, when you put a video together, make notes of the music once you've used it. You might capture it from you might import a bunch of music you don't use, but once you get your finished project, go through and look at what tracks you use, even if all you have is the numbers. So what company they were from, which collection or CD, depending on how they break it up, and then which track you used. And put that in the paperwork with your master, with your release forms and everything else, and then if anything comes up, it's right there. And you can say, look, this is what I used, this is what I paid for. You can contact them, see if I have a contract with it. I will say this, Footage Firm also stood up for us once really, really well when, see, the Footage Firm were video blocks, they were connected at the time. And somebody claimed that we used footage that we didn't have the rights to, and they had, it was video blocks, and they had basically had a thing where you could download the footage for free while you were trying them out, but it was released footage. It came with the property release, the proper licensing. So they sold you the licensing for trying it out, and then if you signed with them, you had the licensing, blah, blah, blah. So when this claim came, I wrote to them, I said, I'm getting called out for using this footage that I used 5 years ago. I don't even have the paperwork on it. They went through their system, found my stuff, sent it to YouTube, cleared it all up. So when you use a company like this and they stand up for you and they cover you and they track who they paid to use their stuff, who signed their stuff to them, and then they signed it to you, because they're just basically a licensing company in between the creator, the content creator, and you. You want somebody who's going to back you up when you legitimately are using something legally. I mean, we're all sensitive to copyright infringement, right? Because every time somebody steals our stuff, we feel like we've been robbed. When people watch stuff pirated, watch stuff without running the ads, watch stuff without paying for Amazon Prime, it hits us. And most of us, it's some people it's hitting, the food on their table, the rent to their landlord. But a lot of it is just hitting our ability to bring more stuff, right? But still, if you want more stuff from us, pay for the stuff you just watched. Or at least let the commercials pay for it. Or at least let Amazon pay us. So we're sensitive to copyright infringement. We don't want to do it to other people. But we also then have to make sure that we can prove we didn't do it to other people now. Because, that's what the world's become, is people expect you to be stealing stuff. And I guess that's all for now. So my rant turned into a happy story, it turned into a little advice. And I'm still going to show you that cheap light kit. But I'm going to do that when we move down to the studio. And I might even show it to you in my library, because my library is a mess right now of equipment, because we're back and forth shooting in different places. And then I'm also going to do a video talking about how many titles you need to actually make money on Amazon Video Direct, and how it's kind of a built-in thing. But we'll do that next time. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.